What if Johnny Manziel played in the NIL era? While things did not quite pan out for him in the NFL, Johnny Manziel was one of the most special college quarterbacks in recent history. His unorthodox style of play made him such a dangerous weapon on the field and one of the most exciting players to watch in all of college football. As a result of the constant headlines he made both on and off the field during his time at the Texas A&M Aggies, it really makes you wonder just how well Manziel would have done during the NIL era. Today, we will dive deep into that rabbit hole, breaking down what kind of deals Manziel likely would have had coming his way, how his NIL value would stack up against some of the players currently dominating the market in college football, taking a look at some schools he may have gone to if he would have utilized the transfer portal, and how his career might have played out differently if he was in today's NIL era. What kind of brands would have deals with Johnny? The most obvious brand that would have made a deal with Manziel is Nike. The second he joined the NFL in 2014, they quickly added him to their elite roster of athletes, with Manziel arguably being the hottest commodity in all of college football in his first 2 seasons as Texas A&M's starting quarterback. There is no doubt the two sides would have worked out a deal, maybe even before Manziel went on to win the Heisman in his freshman season. When he signed with Nike in 2014, Nike sold more jerseys of Manziel than any other rookie in the 2014 draft class. He also had the best-selling jersey on his team. With the brand being able to leverage already established nicknames like Money Manziel and Johnny Football, he would have been arguably the easiest athlete to market in all of college football. Pairing this with a strong relationship with LeBron James during his rise in college football, there's no doubt that Manziel would have quickly been signed a big deal by Nike. It is tough to predict just how much money Manziel could have made with the Nike deal. However, the figure would no doubt be in the millions. Another avenue that Manziel would be getting paid would not even come from a brand. Recently, Power 5 schools agreed that themselves were allowed to pay players,
so that they can in turn turn around and promise that money to their athletes.
While it was against the NCAA rules at the time, when he was attempting to decide whether staying in Texas A&M and declaring for the draft, Manziel's own father almost made a $3 million deal to keep his son in College Station. Adjusting for inflation, there's a strong chance that would be anywhere between $4 to $5 million a year if he was in the NCAA today. The final brand that had a strong chance of signing a Manziel to a deal would either be Topps or Panini. These were two major players in the sports card market at the time, the primary way players were able to profit from their autographs. Manziel was ahead of his time at this front, getting in some hot water and even facing a suspension for making a profit off his own signature. He went on to say he made somewhat of a decent living selling autographs, but never took a dollar until he won the Heisman Trophy. He estimated that he made around $30,000 before being caught. It is hard to slim it down to a particular dollar amount that Manziel would have made from selling his signature. It was said that even when it was against the rules, he was still signing things until his hands would cramp on an almost daily basis. It would be likely conservative to predict that he would make anywhere between $250,000 to $500,000 a year on this side hustle. How would his NIL value stack up to current players? From these 3 deals alone, Johnny Football would have been the highest paid player in college football. Currently, Sheeter Sanders from Colorado holds the title with a valuation of $5.1 million. Then there's a huge gap between him and the second highest paid player in the sport, Arch Manning's and Sanders' teammates, Travis Hunter, who are each valued at $3.1 million. However, with the stranglehold Manziel had on the media during his time at Texas A&M, there's a strong chance he would have blown that number out of the water. In an interview with Shannon Sharpe, when asked about how much money he thought he could possibly have made when he played in the NIL, Manziel was quoting as saying, "Probably $10 million a year."
How much Johnny Football get?
Probably $10 million a year.
I could have done 5 on my own with Instagram, and I could have made $5 million in a year on my own just through the people and connections I had on my phone. That's what a lot of people don't understand.
I could have done $5 million a year on my own just through the people and connections I had on my phone.
Right.
That's what a lot of people don't understand is
during this time and during this rise, and a lot of where my downfall probably came from is, I got on my phone and I got on Twitter and I would be like, yo, Shannon Sharpe just followed me. Come on, James Harden, Drake, LeBron. I'm a DM away from bringing the Rockets courtside. I'll be there in an hour and a half. Manziel brings up an incredible point in this quote. The ads that he would have been able to do to his millions of followers on social media, the money that he could have made off of interviews or podcast appearances, and the deals his A-list celebrity friends would have been able to help him with during this peak may have even made his $10 million prediction true. Would he have utilized the transfer portal? It was clear by that time he was through his sophomore year at Texas A&M. Manziel was ready to get out of College Station. He had become far too big for the campus, with the NCAA breathing down his neck with a looming suspension paired with the fan base beginning to turn. He had to get out. Had he played during the NIL era, he could have done this extremely easily. However, this raises the question of where he would have gone. After 2 seasons of proving himself as one of the top talents at the quarterback position, Manziel likely could have chosen any school he wanted to attend, and they would have been more than happy to have him. There are likely 4 schools that would have been at the top of his list. Those schools being Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon, and Texas. Had he transferred to Bama, he would have been the missing piece they were always looking for. During the era of Saban's dominance, his teams were stacked to the gills with talent. However, they always struggled to find a quarterback that was truly an NFL caliber player. This was far different from his final few years with the team, where he produced Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa. If Johnny was in pursuit of the title along with a handsome payday, Bama would have been his best choice. Another major player would have likely been Ohio State. They were fresh off a national championship, and adding Manziel to their roster would have made them the favorites to win 2 straight. Joining the Buckeyes would have gotten Manziel out of the loaded SEC conference and given him an easy path to get into the playoffs every year. Had Manziel wanted to remain in the state of Texas while sticking it to the Aggies, he could have joined their rival, Texas. He easily could have elevated the program to its former glory, and considering their backup quarterback is the highest paid player in the sport today, there is a strong chance that they could have gotten the most out of his brand. The final team that probably would have been at the top of Manziel's list to transfer to is Oregon. Originally, he committed to Oregon, who offered both him and Marcus Mariota scholarships at the same training camp. However, after seeing what Mariota could do, Manziel chose to take his talents to Texas A&M. Had he transferred to Oregon following his sophomore season, there was a strong chance he could have beat out Mariota for the starting spot. With Oregon's deep ties to Nike, this would have been a match made in heaven, given the fact that Manziel would have likely already been a Nike athlete by this time. However, it would have been very interesting to see if Manziel actually would have left College Station. While he put out tweets shortly before declaring for the draft, he could not wait to leave. It is hard to determine just how true that is. He had a close relationship with almost everybody on the team, and he thought of his star wide receiver Mike Evans as a brother to him. Pairing this with his love for the campus that caused him to open the bar in College Station years after his time playing there could lead many to believe that even with the millions that other schools would have been offering him, it would have been tough for Manziel to leave home. How his career might have played out differently. If Manziel stuck around for the money in college football for even one more season, there's a strong chance that the rest of his career would have played out much differently. While his off-the-field escapades make it hard to believe that Manziel not have gotten into some trouble in college with millions to blow, he would have been able to get this out of his system early when he could still dominate his competition while nursing a hangover. Along with this, the motivation of remaining someone's major brands they wanted to associate with the millions so they could keep coming in may have been the exact motivation that Johnny needed to keep everything on the straight and narrow. If he were to have utilized the transfer portal and gone somewhere like Alabama, there was no doubt a season under Nick Saban's program could put a quick end to Manziel's partying habits and forced him to become a film junkie that he direly needed to be when he made the jump to the NFL. Also, having one more season to focus on perfecting the mechanics and fundamentals of his game, rather than relying on broken plays that could have made the difference between Johnny becoming the franchise quarterback that he had potential for and being only one lasting 2 seasons in the NFL. Finally, if he stuck it out in college with just one more season, there's a chance that he would not have ended up with the Cleveland Browns, something that objectively is a death sentence for almost any quarterback's career. In conclusion, things likely would have played out much differently for Manziel if he played in today's NIL era. Not only would he have made millions more before he did originally in his college career, but there is a chance that he could have transferred to a school with a much stronger coaching staff that improved him and made him NFL ready both on and off the field. Giving Manziel that one extra year to perfect his game at the college level before making the jump to the pros, along with having a little bit more time to mature, could have truly made the difference between him being out of the league in only 2 seasons to being a player who potentially could still be playing on Sundays today.